I just wanted to highlight a few of the updates I've made this evening. The first is that if we place an implant, the color of the implant will correspond to the diameter of the implant as per the manufacturer's convention. Green, yellow, red, and pink, I think. So just like before, what I'm really going to show here is the placement of a provisional onto the abutment. So as before, we'll set a master model, an opposing model, and processor fixed. Now one thing I've done is I've organized these into layers. This first layer has everything in it. This layer has just the intraoral scans in it, and this layer has just the implant and implant hardware in it. Now the tricky thing is that if we're going to be moving the master model, which everything else is parented to, we have to be in this main layer. So to show you that, select just this. If I rotate the master model, everything comes with it. Now if I come into this layer, rotate the master model, come back, you see that our relationship has been broken. So when you're doing this first step, just hide anything that you don't want. You need to add a button for this. And when they're hidden, as long as we're in this layer which contains everything, everything works fine. But I'm not sure why just what layers are visible would affect the behavior, but it does. So for now, stay in this layer and just use these for visualization, not for moving things. So if we look at this from all sides, we now may notice that, our implant placement is a little off axis with our curve of speed. So maybe we want to, in a moment, after we set the axis of the master model, adjust our implant placement. And that's just kind of an example of how the restorative outcome can be linked to the surgical outcome and can plan both in harmony. Right, so now that we've done that, we can turn the handle back on, select the implant, rotate a little bit, move it to where we want it. We can still use our slice view and stuff, but for now we'll just kind of eyeball it. So now if we go back in, visualize our abutment, we can reset our insertion axis to something a little better. And there, so now the placement of the implant and the axis of insertion are in harmony with the dentition. Remember, once we've changed this, we need to set the axis again, or we'll have problems later. And now it's just like any other crown design. So we want the abutment now to be the prep, and you'll notice something happened when we did that, especially if I hide the mandible. See the relationship between the abutment and the implant has been destroyed. So that's because my add-on doesn't know that this abutment is parented twice, once to the master model and then again to the implant. But if we tell it that, now we see that the relationship stays the same. So it's very important that you check abutment here. Sometimes when my mouse battery gets low, the jiggles cause it to cancel. Alright, so now that we've done that, we can see that everything is still as it should be. The abutment's there, in the same spot in the mandible. It's harmonious with the dentition. The only thing is this abutment is really tall, so we'll just ignore that this is going to be incredibly hyper-occluded. Alright, well I don't actually need to place this just to demonstrate. We can seat that to the margin, if you would. Make sure it's sealed. Calculate the inside. Okay, and then I'll show you a problem that we have here. And that is the way the offsets work. Blender depends on the normals of the object that this inside surface be correct. So we see that it has put part of it above and part of it below, and that's actually because of the modeling of this. And if we view the normals, we see that these are pointed out and these are pointed inward. Okay, now we see this is a little bit better, but because of this sharp edge here, it's still having trouble seating down onto it. So if we go to the inside model, here we can kind of play around. I think this is what I did to fix it. Yeah, you can just kind of play around with these settings until you find, let me see, that's actually going to bind right here. So haven't quite figured out an elegant way to make this fit perfectly, but just for the sake of moving on. Alright, there you have it.